What's up, guys? This is another video game podcast. Another video.
Another
games. We're talking
different
about games,
gamers,
video games,
video game and gamers. Different. Yeah.
I'm Justin.
Wait, who am I?
You're Justin. I'm Justin.
Okay. Yeah, dude. We're. I think we nailed that intro.
Yeah, we're not drunk, at least not yet.
Yeah, I know, right?
Welcome to another video game podcast. I'm Justin.
And I'm Jordan.
I already said welcome to another video game podcast. This is our shit. Oh, now I have to bleep myself.
Oh man, yeah. Let's just screw the intro. We're hopping in. We're going into it.
This episode will contain spoiler warnings for which game?
Cyberpunk 2077.
Cyberpunk 2077. It is a hot topic even now as we record this. It's still in conversation of what happened, what went wrong, what went right. If you don't know what Cyberpunk 2077 is, you're not a gamer, and why are you listening to our podcast?
Yeah, so I'm going to need you to tell me what Cyberpunk 2077 is.
You're on this podcast. So everyone has heard, every gamer, I believe, has at least heard of Cyberpunk 2077. It was the biggest release that could have happened at the time. It was announced in, I have my notes. It was announced in May of 2012. So it has been in the oven.
8 years ago. It was announced 8 years ago.
What year is it, Jordan?
9 years ago.
9 years ago.
9 years. Oh my god, it's 2021. Holy shit. 9 years ago, this game was announced. So it's by what we've talked about before, this game should be almost perfect.
Right, and it is perfect.
Yeah, it's almost perfect.
So here's the I want to clarify from my point of view, so people understand what kind of experience I had. I played Cyberpunk 2077 a few times, all the way through, and I did it on a PC. I had a good time. I didn't have any problems. I had the occasional thing where graphics or textures won't load for a good 10, 15 seconds after I load in, but that's the only issue I had. I did not have any further issues.
And that's pretty common as far as games go. Like when you first load in, where like all the textures aren't there right away. I mean, even the past couple CODs have been like that. Even like the really high quality ones have been like that. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, and it happens. But yeah, that happened to me, and it's whatever. But the story. So it is a story game, but it is also a first person shooter. It's one of those. At first, it was actually announced it was going to be a third-person game, which I was super stoked for because I like third-person. I like vanity and seeing my character's outfit and all that kind of stuff.
Do you have the ability to choose, like in the game? Can you
No.
switch between first and third? Oh.
It's not like Skyrim or Fallout.
Or GTA?
Yeah, it's not like that.
Yeah. Okay.
It takes place, obviously, in the year 2077. You play as one of three life choices. You can start out as a nomad, which is... I should clarify. The game takes place in the place called Night City, which is large corporation run, very much like a fantasized version of what our future could be like. Corporations run everything, they control the government and all this kind of stuff. And Night City is corrupt, where the people at the top are corrupt and the people at the bottom are stepped on, and classic story like that. But you started into one of three starting character types. A nomad, which nomads are people that live outside of the city in the desert area. It's supposed to look like California a little bit. And there's like the deserty areas, and so they live out.
Yeah, from your description, I'm kind of picturing like a futuristic New York City, but dropped where Las Vegas is.
Kinda. Yeah,
How accurate is that?
there's more like palm trees and stuff like that. Like
Okay.
it's clearly supposed to be kind of California-esque.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, I mean it's close enough. Then so a nomad lives in the desert. They live outside of the city, kind of within their own laws, where they have their own families, like clans almost. They look like they dress like a biker gang would, kind of more gearheads and but they're very family oriented. Like once you join their group, you are a member of the family.
Sons of Anarchy. Sons of Anarchy.
Kinda, just less crime oriented.
Okay. But Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, they're more like, stick it to the corporations. Fuck the corporations. You can start as a street kid, which is inner city, as a mercenary. So you're doing crime for pay. And the first mission you do in that is you are charged with stealing a very expensive car. And it goes wrong. And then there is the final one, which is what I started out as the first time I played through, which is what's called a corpo. Corpo is someone that works for the corporations. You do the corporation's dirty work. So you have access to the finer things. And this is where
Catch me there every time. That's right where I'd be, corpo for life.
I liked the corpo. I actually liked the street kid better the second time I played through. It was actually a lot of fun. I never really did nomad because the nomad lifestyle never really appealed to me. I think that one of the first things that went wrong, this is just like a tiny little sprinkle of the controversy. They built that choose your backstory thing super hard. They played that the whole time like, oh yeah, you're going to choose your backstory. It's going to have a huge impact on who you interact with and where you interact with them and what your relationship's like with them. It doesn't. It's about...
But their goal was to have basically three separate games all take place in the same map, is what I'm understanding. That was their goal. Whether or not that actually happened is aside the point. Would you agree with that?
No, it was supposed to be one story, but it's like... Let's say a NPC, like one of your missions in the main mission is like, oh, we're going to meet this guy that knows some information. He works on the streets and he knows all the ins and outs. Well, if you're a street kid, maybe you already know him and he has a better relationship with you. But if you're a corpo, maybe he threatens you and he doesn't trust you as much and you have to...
I'm tracking. Okay. Yep.
And so it has pinches of that, but not nearly as much as what we were told it did have. First of all, your intro mission is about 10 minutes long. And then you immediately get played a cinematic that is the exact same, no matter which one you play as. And your story is just the same from there. Your story is exactly the same no matter what you choose. The only difference is, and doesn't even make any difference in gameplay whatsoever, is, let's say like when I first played a corpo, I was interrogating someone that was also a corpo, and I said, or you had the option because you were a corpo, like, I understand how the corporations work, and you did this and that and that and this just for this goal, because that's how corporations work, where you wouldn't have access to that dialogue if you were a street kid because you didn't understand how corporations worked. That being said, literally nothing changed. Maybe one sentence of dialogue was different, but there was no different information. They didn't give you anything. There was no bonus to be had. It's just little flavors.
So they already fucked up the marketing, like from the beginning. Marketed the game to be something that it's not. Which, I mean, like, I feel like that's what we're going to spend the majority of this episode talking about, is like all the different controversies around the game. Although, that being said, yes, yeah, tons of controversy. I watched some, like, couple minutes of gameplay before this. I'm intrigued. It seems like it would be fun. It seems like very GTA-ish, like a GTA story is kind of what I got from it. Seems very interesting. I might grab it if it's ever on sale on like the Steam store or something like that. I'm definitely not going to pay $60 for it, knowing the fucking garbage that came out by CD Projekt Red. But I'll pay them $20. You know.
At the end of this episode, I will answer, in my opinion, is Cyberpunk a good game? We'll do that at the end.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But the overarching of the story from here on, I'll just kind of give you the Cliff Notes version. I won't introduce you to every character or anything. So, no matter which road you choose, you end up becoming a mercenary. No matter what. Just like a low-level street mercenary. You are hired to break into the biggest corporation's headquarters and steal a data file. That mission goes wrong. And everyone in this world has a really, really unique way of getting information. You can, like, for example, jack into things. Like if I want to go into a computer, there's a wire that's embedded in everyone's arm that you pull out and plug into that computer, and it downloads files into your brain.
Neuralink, anyone? Neuralink? Come on.
That's exactly what it is. And there's even another thing, so where you can get chips like this one was, and you can just implant it into your neck, and like in a little SD card, just right into your neck. And then, like, that's how, like, I remember before the heist, they were like, here are the blueprints of the building, and then you just boom right in your neck, and you can see them. And I sounds
like Altered Carbon's Stacks meets Neuralink. Like if you were to combine those two ideas.
Oh, it's so cool. I was really intrigued by that idea. And we'll get into like the body modification stuff later but when we talk about gameplay. But that mission goes wrong, and you are forced to implant a chip into your neck. And then you wake up, or you try to get patched up and everything, and you find out that you wake up and you just see... or I'm trying to remember the exact turn of events, but basically that chip has the quote-unquote soul of a person from back in the day that was a rock star who was super rebellious to the corporations and actually like had war on them and stuff like that, like broke into their facilities, blew up stuff. And that man is called Johnny Silverhand, who is played by Keanu Reeves.
A beautiful, majestic man.
A gorgeous man. Kind of gay for Keanu Reeves.
Who isn't? Seriously, like who isn't? I mean, come on.
He's breathtaking.
I know.
But he, so only you can see him though. He can talk to you and he can see you. You can see him. No one else can see him. He's in your brain. And one of the plot hooks is that you go to what are called Ripper docs, which is the doctor basically. And he tells you that chip, it can't be taken out without killing you and destroying the file. And it's also that personality chip, that soul chip we'll call it, is slowly taking over your body. And eventually you will be the voice in the head, and Johnny Silverhand will completely take over your body.
Yo, and that's interesting.
He starts out as a dick. Like he tries to kill you. He tries to kill you straight up. First thing he does.
Asshole.
Oh, he's an amazing character. He's the best part of the game.
Okay.
What was my favorite quote of the whole thing was he was just like, it was later down the line when you get along with him. He goes, "You're a lot like me now, minus the charisma and the exceptional cock."
Well, I mean, you know,
it's Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, but I mean, me and Keanu do have that in common. I'm just throwing that out there.
Shut up. No, you don't. You. I don't know about your cock, but you sure lack charisma. But
oh my god, that's mean.
There's actually a headline that I watched that I really liked.
Whoa, nice cock.
Nice cock. So CD Projekt Red had to come out with a statement telling people to stop making Keanu Reeves' character as a prostitute in Cyberpunk because people kept making mods to have sex with Keanu Reeves. They were like, We have prostitutes in there. We get it. But this is a real person who lend us their likeness. This is not cool.
I mean, he had to have known that was going to happen. Come on.
I'm sure he doesn't even care.
Yeah, he's probably like, yeah, that's pretty accurate. I do have a nice cock.
But there are multiple endings. I think there are 5 different endings. One of them is very secret, which is really cool. But
is it kind of like Did you ever watch Bandersnatch on Netflix, where there's a ton of different endings and you have to like make choices throughout the TV show? And at one point, you can even get the main character to like interact with you, the viewer. It's really trippy. But there's like 5 alternate endings. But my point is there one that's like the quote unquote best ending that you can hope for? Which in Bandersnatch was with like the main character killing himself, but his game is incredible. But is there like a best case scenario, or are they all just equally kind of there?
It all depends on your point of view. Like, you can side with different people. You can side with the corporations. You can side with the nomads. You can side with more of the streets. You can side with purely Johnny Silverhand. You can just kill yourself in the end and say, fuck it. Which is...
That's a nice little touch.
That's the worst ending.
That's a nice little touch.
No one wins. The best ending, in my personal opinion, is the hardest one to get. So you actually have a unmarked friendship meter with Johnny Silverhand, and the choices you make throughout the game and how you treat him can affect his personality toward you. And at the end, if you have done everything correctly, maxed out everything, made all the right choices, when he asks you, how do you want to finish this game? Basically, he asks you, like, how do you want to handle this final mission, which is breaking back into that headquarters. If you don't select anything for 5 minutes, he'll say, I get it. You're having a hard time choosing. If you want, we can do this with no one's help. It'll be a suicide mission, but it's worth a shot. And you can choose that route instead. Because no matter what, basically all the other endings are like, people you care about along the way can join you, but a lot of them sacrifice their lives for you. And this one, you just go in solo, guns a-blazing. And it's the hardest route, hands down, and you can't save along the way. So if you die, you're done. And so it's like you got one shot, and it is tough, and it is very rewarding when you do it.
See, now I'm interested. I felt like Cyberpunk, like all the ads that I remember seeing for the game before it came out, none of them, I never understood the story at any point or what was supposed to happen. I felt like if they had done a better job, like, I don't know who the fuck was marketing this game, but they really fucked up. Like, if they had just talked about the story a lot more and just been honest about all the issues that it had on last-gen consoles, I mean, I don't know. I think the situation could have been salvaged, but yeah, I mean, I heard nothing about the story. This is me hearing about the story for the first time, and that sounds really, really interesting.
Well, they didn't want to give away a lot of the plot points. I actually think... See, the thing is, CD Projekt Red had most RPG gamers' complete trust. I remember being in conversations when people are like, "Oh, Ubisoft's going to hell, Bethesda's going to hell." I would be like, "Yeah, well, at least we still got people that got our back, like CD Projekt Red," and because they came out with the Witcher games, and The Witcher 3 is one of the best RPGs of all time. And I don't even think that's debatable. But I think that this sullied the reputation so badly because basically developers came out after the game launched and were like, yeah, we knew it wasn't ready. We told all the higher ups it's not ready. And it's not like CD Projekt Red is under EA or under anyone else. It's CD Projekt Red is CD Projekt Red. And they were like, yeah, it's not ready. And,
so when you say not ready, explain to me more, like, what were some of the bigger issues that the game had?
the glitches were unbelievable. I expect glitches whenever I get a new AAA game, and it's fine. I understand day one patches are a thing, but these were ridiculous, especially on the PS4 and Xbox One, the base ones. So if you had like an Xbox One S, or if you had a
PS4 Pro.
PS4 Pro, you're going to be fine for the most part. But the amount of people on the streets were significantly lower. There was constant glitching. Like you saw some of the glitches. You know, the pathfinding was terrible. The driving was had horrible glitches. Things were not loading until way later, and they would load in and kill you. And it was borderline unplayable for a lot of people. My wife played it on a PS4 Slim. And she had a lot of problems, and the definitely didn't look as pretty as mine did on the PC. And I don't have a crazy graphics card either. I have a 1660 Ti. It's nothing insane. And hers definitely had problems, but she didn't have it wasn't unplayable. But I have seen plenty of people that it was unplayable with the amount of glitches that they had. And so in response, CD Projekt Red actually had to put out a response saying, we will accept all refunds for our game.
Again, I remember that too, and I remember when they said that, I remember a whole bunch of other articles came out where like Walmart didn't agree to that, GameStop didn't agree to that. Like the places that sold the physical copies, I mean, yeah, I'm sure they have some sort of return policy, but they didn't agree with that with CD Projekt Red.
Well, they basically said in their post, like, try to return it where you could, and if they won't let you, contact CD Projekt Red support, and we'll refund you. Yeah, a lot of people were very pissed. There are multiple lawsuits out for CD Projekt Red right now for false advertising, because they basically released an incomplete game. And PlayStation, for example, took it down. It's not on their store.
Yeah, you can't buy it on their store. Okay.
It's so bad that they said, even though they could still make money on it, PlayStation just said, we're not going to sell it until you fix it.
Damn.
And it was so bad. It was the most hyped game, and it was the biggest letdown in terms of the performance. I think deep down there's a really good game in there, and I personally think it is a good game. I enjoyed the heck out of it. That being said,
how long is it?
So you can play the game with all the side content for 200 plus hours,
ignoring side content. Yeah, just main story.
I can blaze through it in a day.
Okay,
which is upsetting.
Yeah, probably 10 to 16 hours.
I'd say about like 20 if you're blazing through 20 hours roughly. Yeah, I got to the point where I knew everything was enough, and the gameplay was easy enough that I could do it in about a day. And that stinks. I was really hoping for more. That's the thing. I played 2 full playthroughs, and then I made a couple other side characters to see what the other intros were like and stuff. And I never felt like I had to go back for the other side stuff. I uninstalled it now. Like, if you ask me, like, Skyrim, when that came out, I was playing that every day for over a year. And a lot of games, I expect to play it for a long time. I expect to play it for a ton of time, especially with a game like that with promise of that size.
Do you think that... So they fix all the patches in a perfect world. All the patches get fixed, and they come out with DLC content that is free or mostly free, in the sense of, like, there's more story, but if you want, like, certain skins or something. Like, do you think basically my question is, do you think the game can be salvaged?
I think a lot of the damage is done. There are plenty of people now that have written off CD Projekt Red and say, F you, CD Projekt Red, I'm done. You screw your company. And so I think the damage is done. I don't think they'll ever be able to fully recover. I'll play the heck out of the DLC, sure. And I think it I think it will have a following. But I think the damage is done for a lot of longtime CD Projekt Red fans.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that definitely makes a lot of sense. I got to be honest. I mean, I was interested and I'm still interested. But I mean, I'm definitely never going to pay full price for the game. Like I'm not going to pay $60 for that game.
I think
Just
with
yeah, what do you
your
think it's worth?
I think with your PC, I think I would pay $40 for it. I think you
Yeah.
would have a good time. I really do. I think you would like the story. I don't think you'd probably do a ton of the side stuff, but it's like kind of like GTA, you know.
Yeah,
In
is
terms
there
of
any online content?
not yet. They talked about how they
Oh.
were going to implement some multiplayer.
Okay. Okay. Um so I want to move on to that question that I asked you now. What would you have done if you were the CEO of CD Projekt Red? So you have this game. It's already been delayed 4 times, or however fucking many times it's been delayed. You have developers telling you it's not done, but you already have consumers who have given you money in terms of pre-orders, and you have shareholders who are not only expecting but deserve a return on their investment. You're the CEO. You have a magic wand. Wave it and tell me what you do.
I really can't from a CEO's perspective because I'm not a CEO. I've never been a CEO. I don't understand the pressure that it would have. I'm sure there's a ton of pressure to have released that game. As a consumer, if I still had that same magic wand, I would have kept it in the oven for a little bit longer. I wouldn't really have changed the story any. I think the story was fine. There was a lot of side content and side characters that I thought were really charming. And it was a fine game. It just wasn't my Witcher. It wasn't my Skyrim where I can play for hours on end and still find the magic in it. Which is okay. I don't expect that from every game. It's like Doom. Like I played Doom, I beat it, and I was good.
Both
was
the
like,
Dooms are great. Like
great.
the newer ones. Yeah.
We'll probably do an episode that's about both those games.
Yeah, 100%. Those games too. Okay, I'm gonna get off topic. Can I go ahead and tell you what I think would have been appropriate for what should have happened for CD Projekt Red? Now, I'm not an expert either. That being said, I do have a business management degree, but I'm not an expert by any means. This is what I think would have been appropriate was tell the consumers. Like, just be like, hey, this game is not quite finished. All right. But I need to release it in 2020. We have to record a profit in 2020. I think had they just come out with some sort of statement that was honest about the situation and been like, this game is not done, but we need to release it. So we're releasing it. Here are the and they had the nice little touch with the pathway of patches. Like, we're going to have a major patch in January. We're going to have a major patch in February. But I think if they had just been honest about the situation from up front, I think we, the consumer, value honesty way more than we value like pretty graphics or, you know, a game that's perfect. Like, if you're just honest, be like, hey, we're still working on it. We know, but here you go. What do you think about that?
I think you got good in there, but I think instead, like where my magic wand would be, I'm going to try to prevent this fire from happening. Your approach is more of I'm going to prepare for this fire that is happening, rather than preventing the fire as a total. Like, you're just advising the population, like, hey, there's going to be a fire. And I think that would have worked if it wasn't such a hyped game. There was a ton of hype. Like I said, it was announced in 2012, and from the makers of The Witcher, people have been following the story of every little bit of Cyberpunk they've been looking at. Like crazy fans have just been digging for news on Cyberpunk for years and years and years and years. And when it finally got released, I think no matter what a CEO would have said, there would have been a disaster on their hands. I think that
like a public outcry.
Yeah, I think what you said would have been just like getting a little bit of a head start on the control.
The shit show that was coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. You know, that being said, I will probably play Cyberpunk at some point. I generally ask for like Steam gift cards for Christmas or my birthday, and I'll give it a shot. And hopefully, by that point in time, the game will be good and the game will be put together.
I
But
thought you were about to ask our fans for Steam gift cards, and I was like, "What are you doing?"
no. But I mean, you know, if you want to.
We don't ask for money until we get a Patreon. Those are the rules.
Oh man, that's funny. That's funny. You know, you have this one question in our list, and it's just, would Jordan like it? And that's all you put.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Real quick on that note, I was thinking of a joke in my head of like, we don't ask anything of our of our viewers, of our listeners. They're good people. We don't need to ask anything. We need to provide a service. And if you guys agree with me, like, comment, share, subscribe.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe. It's free. Ring the bell. Oh man.
Would you like it?
Yeah, would I like it? I mean,
Yeah.
from what I've seen, I think I would enjoy it. Maybe I don't think it would be my favorite game, but I think I would enjoy it.
I think you would enjoy it for different reasons than I enjoy it. I don't think you'd love it for the characters. I think you'd like it for the gameplay. The gameplay is a ton of fun, which we'll talk about. We'll just segue into that. But the gameplay is a ton of fun, and I think you'd have a lot of fun just being a murder hobo and running around and killing people.
Murder hobo. Yeah, I mean, talk to me about the gameplay, because like I feel like we've spent the first majority of this podcast just shitting on it. I mean, tell me what's really good. Tell me about the gameplay. You said it's good.
So there are three main pathways. There's a more of a combative role. And there's hacking, and there is more of a stealth role. You get different traits to yourself that you can level up, such as your intelligence, your strength, your hacking abilities, and your crafting abilities, stuff like that. And like what I really liked about the game, so a lot of RPGs, no matter how strong you are, you still have to lockpick a door open. Well, in this game, if you have a high enough strength, you can just tear that shit open. You can just rip apart that door.
That's awesome.
Which I love. Awesome. The gunplay is a ton of fun. So I was kind of weird. I used a controller for all of my whenever I was driving, and then immediately just switched to keyboard and mouse when I was fighting.
There's a lot of games where I do that. I do that when I play Battlefield. Whenever I'm in a vehicle, I pick up the controller, and then if I'm on foot, mouse and key.
There you go. Yeah, and there's snipers and pistols. There are a ton of different gun variations out there. What is really neat is you can get one gun and add mods to it, and it can be your gun for the entire game. It's not
so there's gun mods.
There's gun mods, and also like you can have like incendiary ammo and just level up the parts on that gun in general. It's really hard to do, honestly, and I thought it was a little bit better just to get money through multiple money glitches that I found, and and just buy a really good gun and upgrade it from there. And that's usually how most people play, unless you have a really high crafting level, because crafting you have to level up in order to be able to do that stuff. But then there are also different traits, and there are melee weapons too, which are not bad. Weirdly enough, it's a first-person shooter with decent melee.
I saw a video where it was a dude using dildos as melee weapons. Yeah, it might have been a glitch.
It was probably a mod.
A mod. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but there's not any dildos that I found. If you found a dildo that you can use as a weapon in Cyberpunk 2077, can you let me know? But
yeah, just let us know in the comments.
Yeah, comment or on Twitter at AVP casting. But the melee that I found the best, which was extremely effective, you can do body modification in this game. It's in this world, body modification is the norm. and it's weird if you don't have some sort of cybernetic implant. And a lot of like the quote unquote celebrities of this game, like there's a pop star who her entire body is gold. Like her whole body. They basically moved. She kept upgrading to the point where it's just her brain. And she has like a conflict with that. And there's but anyways, you can the best combat in my opinion when I did my second playthrough. So I had a really good AR, I had a really good shotgun, and a really good pistol. But for my fourth weapon, I had what are called mantis blades. This is the most popular kind of poster child melee weapon on the Cyberpunk, where like while I talk about it, Jordan, go ahead and on your other screen look up Cyberpunk mantis blades. Basically, they are giant blades that look like praying mantis arms that pop out of your arms, and you can use them to pounce on people and just tear people apart. And there's another mod that you can get for your legs, which allows you to double jump. And though that combo made me unstoppable, just running everywhere, tearing people apart, being able to jump to the balcony, lunge at someone, stab them in the chest.
These blades look gnarly.
Oh,
they
so
look
cool.
so sick. What? That's crazy. And I see ones that are like, there's a whole bunch of different variations of them, like electric ones, there's fire ones. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they were really cool. And what's really nice too is if you go into an area where they take away your weapons, you still have those.
Yeah, because it's a mod. They can't take away your arm.
Yeah, exactly. It's a cybernetic, so they can't take that away. And it's not just the mantis blades that are really cool. You can get, instead of mantis blades, you can have like an arm cannon that launches grenades. And stuff like that. And there's another one that's really cool that's like a giant wire will come out of your hand and you can use like strangle enemies.
That's awesome.
It's neat. It is really cool. And the other gameplay style that I think is really cool, not really self-explanatory, is the hacking way. You can download hacks. You can purchase them, and you can use so many hack points that you have for the module that you have in your brain. Which you can upgrade. And you can make a enemy go blind for a certain amount of time. You can make them short circuit their weapons. So basically, you can hack other people's cybernetics. And since cybernetics is the norm, it's very easy to do with almost everyone.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like everyone's eyes are usually cybernetic. Your eyes are cybernetic. So you can just short circuit them and make them go blind or make their head explode. And you can also hack cameras and turrets and all that kind of stuff. What the missions that I liked the best are where you were placed outside of a quote-unquote enemy fort or something like that, a place controlled by all the enemies, and you can just go around silently with your double jump, which is, again, super helpful. I don't think I could imagine not having double jump. You can just go around and hack all the turrets, and then you can kill a couple guards along the way, and basically making the entire fortress your bitch.
That's awesome.
It's a lot of fun. So yeah. you can go in guns blazing as a mindless idiot with low intelligence and just go bursting in, or you can stealth your way through and hack everything, and be really strategic about it. So you can really play the game your way. And there are some areas that you can't do certain things the easy way because you didn't level up your X skill. So a good example of this for me, I remember I had to break into this fortress and free this guy that I was trying to save that was captured. And I got into this fortress. You have to go all the way back and into the basement of this fortress. And I went through and I stealthed through, and I didn't even get a single guy to look at me. I didn't kill anyone. And I was like, ooh, I'm sneaky. And I figured it's a big place. They're always going to have that thing where at the end of it, you can go out the secret tunnel or whatever. Like most games do. And sure enough, I got the guy up, and he was like, there's a secret hatch over on the right. Let's go. And I was like, oh, yeah, let's go. And I went over there, and the door was like, you must have this high of intelligence in order to leave this way. And I didn't have that. And I was like, Well, shoot, now I gotta go back the other way and blow up everyone.
Yeah.
And I wasn't prepared. I was not prepared for that mission. I had like a silent pistol on me, and it was a shit show. And so it's stuff like that that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I mean, that seems very interesting. How long do you think until the game is playable?
I don't know. Mainly because I'm not looking at news on it anymore. It could be playable now, but I don't play it on PS4, Xbox One. I don't play it at all anymore until they come out with DLC, just because I had my fun and now I'm done.
Yep, ready to move on.
Don't get Cyberpunk if you're expecting hundreds of hours to keep you enthralled. At least that wasn't it for me. I enjoyed it. I did a lot of side missions just to level up, and once I got really OP, then I kind of just stopped.
I think we have become spoiled in terms of what we expect from a video game. Just a little bit, because if you think about like some of the biggest games of all time, aka Call of Duty or GTA, extremely replayable, extremely like you could play a game for hours and hours and hours and hours on end and still not do everything or have everything. But like, while Doom was great, for me, like, I'm just not going to go back and play it again, you know? And I feel like for whatever reason, that taints the memory of the game for me in my mind. Because it's like, I spent this much money on Doom. I don't think Doom was actually $60. I don't think I think it was like a $40 game. But like, or I can spend $60 on COD and be thoroughly entertained for a whole year. You see what I'm trying to get at here? Like, I feel like we've become a little spoiled almost. What do you think?
I think that's a gamer, like individual gamer perspective. Like, for me, I played through Doom and I beat it, and I thought to myself, I got my money's worth. Like, that was a ton of fun. And I like Doom better than I will ever like Call of Duty. Even though there's more replayability to Call of Duty, aka just multiplayer, I thought that Doom was better. Just for me, you know, as a story-based player. And like
Doom's multiplayer is really fun. Like, have you ever played it? It's a blast.
Yeah, I have. But, like, I definitely think there's a difference between a competitive shooter like yourself and a RPG player like me in terms of what we expect from a game. Like, I don't expect replayability and endless fun until they promise it. Like, Doom never came off as a game that was like, you know, this is going to give you hundreds of hours of fun. You can replay it a bunch of times. There's different endings. No, it's a linear game that has multiplayer as an option. I did not buy it ever intending to do multiplayer. I did it a couple times. It was really fun, but I think it was the story and the monsters that I fought that I really enjoyed, and then I was extremely satisfied, and I would do it all over again. I would absolutely pay $60 for that game and play it once and never touch it again. It's like, why would you order a pizza when you can get a bunch of ingredients for the same price and have like 4 meals for the next 4 days? You know what I mean? It's like, no, because you want that fucking pizza.
Yeah, no, I guess that makes sense. I don't know, but I think maybe you saying that kind of proves that I'm right. Like, there's a branch of us gamers who have become fucking spoiled little shits and don't know when to be happy with a game. You know what I mean? Like I definitely feel like there's a lot of us that exist and have to remember, like, I don't know, these games can be extremely difficult to make, take a really long time, a ton of money, and a ton of effort, and we play it for 12 hours, 16 hours, 20 hours, however long the game is, and then never touch it again. Like, oh man, I think it's because I'm expecting a service and not just a standalone game anymore. I think my preferences from games has switched. When I spend money on a game, I expect not just one game. I expect a service at this point. But it's weird. I guess it really depends on the game, though, because, like, if I purchase Spider-Man, I'm not expecting that.
Here's what I say. I say it depends on what you are promised on whether or not you're satisfied. I wouldn't say we're necessarily spoiled. For example, With Call of Duty, you are promised that service. You are promised constant updates of new maps and battle passes, and but also fundamentally, you are promised, airtight shooting mechanics and a smooth gameplay and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like Call of Duty delivers that. They don't promise a phenomenal story. They say like, we're gonna have a campaign. But they don't say like, oh, this campaign's gonna rock your socks off, best campaign ever. No, they're like, their focus is the multiplayer.
Yeah, their promise is addictive and replayable multiplayer.
And so when you sell Cyberpunk and you say like, yeah, this guy's got really good gameplay and all that kind of stuff, and the story is incredible. This is an RPG. Like, this is solid. Like, that's what you're promising. And I do feel like it delivers on that. A really satisfying experience. It's all dependent on what they're selling. And some games that say, oh, this is super replayable, they are super replayable. I think where Cyberpunk failed for me in their promising of a story is hundreds of hours of gripping gameplay. Yeah, there's a ton of side missions. I don't like most of them. Most of them I thought were boring fetch quests or just run into this place, kill everyone, and leave. I got bored. And I think that the main story was solid. There were a few really good side missions. And then I was done. And that being said, I think it's a $40 game from the state that it's in right now. I think it's a good game. I don't think it's a masterpiece. I don't think it's better than The Witcher or anything like that. But I think it's all game preference, if gamer preference, I should say. Like, if I'm not satisfied with that part of the game, but someone else is, and they think they got their $60 worth or $70 worth or whatever bundle pack they got, more power to you. That's amazing. I'm glad you got your money's worth. It's all just based on your enjoyment. But I don't expect a service from my RPGs. I think that games as a service in an RPG setting is absolutely terrible, and there are multiple examples of why that system does not follow through with RPGs.
Yeah. All right. Well, no, I guess, yeah, for sure. I mean, it goes back to different gamers talking about different games. I mean, literally, it's in our... back. I know, right? It's in our fantastic intro, which you can hear perfectly in its entirety at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah, and you can hear the other lackluster ones on our channel. What
is there? Go ahead.
One thing I did want to tell you, if you are going to play it, the driving's not GTA. The driving's okay.
That's heartbreaking to hear.
Yeah, it's okay. It's better than a lot of other driving games I played that are open world. A lot better. But it's still rough. A lot of the cars feel slower than they're actually going. Like, they don't give you that momentum feeling.
Yeah. Like, the speed is there, but the acceleration isn't.
Yeah. Motorcycles are awesome, though. That's the way to go. Which is kind of the opposite of GTA for me. Because normally in GTA, it's like, if I hop on a high-speed motorcycle, I'm going to crash eventually, and I just have to come to terms with that. But no, in Cyberpunk, that's how the majority of the time, that's how I got around. And I think it's mainly because, like I said, I'm really into vanity, and that was the only way I could see my character was driving a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And but I definitely think the game is worth playing. Wait for a sale, wait for more updates. It's a really solid game.
Okay. All right. Is there any last minute ideas? Any last minute questions that we should go over? Any last minute thoughts?
What I'd like to do, and I'm not trying to pressure you into playing it sooner than you'd like. When you do play it, we're gonna revisit it in a later episode, maybe just for half an episode, or something like that. But I want to hear your opinions later. Okay.
Like a replay series, almost.
Ooh, AVP replay?
Ooh.
Yeah. Drumming up ideas, and then people are going to be mad at us later.
Or like playback. What if we call it playback?
Playback?
Yeah.
Or we could call it, and we can make a highlight reel called AVP Best Plays.
Ooh, yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I don't know if there's nothing else. I think we can wrap this episode up right there and maybe hit the C's. What do you think?
Yeah, this was a very divisive game, and I tried to keep it as like neutral as I could. I enjoyed the game, that I totally understand why people don't, and people want their money back. If you played Cyberpunk 2077, let us know what you thought of it. We respond to all of our YouTube comments, at least right now, and
no, we always will. I'm making that promise. I'm making that promise. Right now, we will always reply to every single one of our YouTube comments.
We're gonna have to hire someone.
No.
But yeah, let us know what you thought about it in the comments if you're on YouTube. If you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, let us know what you thought on Twitter at AVP Casting. Our Twitter handle did change a couple episodes ago, so let us know what you thought. But yeah, share this with your friends. We're trying to get some momentum with this channel, with this podcast. We really enjoy doing it, and sharing it to your friends is the best way that we can try to get to a larger audience. Really, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Please like, share, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. All right. Well, I think we're good there. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.